What's up, everyone? So, just some thoughts on this red pill movement, which I'm glad that I got into. I say got into, but I've been there my whole life, really, but I didn't know there was a name for it or a movement. I'm 42, and about 6 months ago, I discovered like a random fem sapien slash just pearly things video online, and said, "I submit to my man. What's up?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, you know, what is this? And we making people mad. We triggering people out here. I could tell it was something designed to try to trigger people and whatever. I actually got into a little bit of an argument with Fem Sapien. She responded to one of my comments, and I was like, "What you're doing is stupid, whatever." Despite the fact that after more research, I kind of agree with her on some things, but she was saying like the page is for comedy or whatever. And okay, looking back on it, I realized whatever. So this started the algorithm change, as you know, and the more videos I started liking, I didn't necessarily care about what Fem Sapien was saying, but her approach is I don't agree with, but whatever. Um, but I got into just pearly things, which led me to Kevin Samuels, and that led me to Fresh and Fit, and then Andrew Tate popped up. At the time, I had no clue who Andrew Tate was at all. I knew there was controversy, but I hadn't sat down and done my research. By the time I started watching a ton of Kevin Samuels, I got into him, and the Poor Man's Podcast. Shout out, Poor Man's Podcast. You're top G, for real. By the time 3-4 months went by, I started realizing, I'm 42, never married, no kids. My position always was growing up, and people used to look at me like I was weird, is I would say marriage is slavery. It's the last form of legal slavery. This is why when I would date women, and I was very successful in my 20s and early 30s. Last 10 years, I've been in a 7-year relationship. I just got out this year. 7 years to the day. As a matter of fact, on my anniversary, I broke up with her. That's a different story. But anyway, so I'm not counting my 30s quite so much. But yes, I can tell mainly because I haven't been looking, haven't been trying, but it's dried up. And we know that this trans movement, feminism movement really gained steam in the last 10 years. So I was taken during that time frame, and I got overtaken in that time frame. But even in 1999 to 2000, to 2005, in that time frame, I always swore no kids, no marriage, because what ends up happening is, and I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera, I got neurological issues, and I'm whatever. I'm not a professional YouTuber, but anyway, a woman could. I knew then, 20, 25 years ago, I knew then that a woman could basically trap you, either with a baby, lying, get you to, and this is DNA tests weren't what they were then, like they are now, but lock you into a marriage. Then they were going to leave you, and then once they left you, they were going to hit you up for child support, take half your money. You had no choice or no say in the matter if the baby was born. Then they steal your money. If you can't pay, then you lose your driver's license. You cannot work. You're driving everywhere on suspended license. Then you get hit with suspended driver's license, suspended or revoked charge. Now you're in jail for years, and then you start backing it. How are you going to pay your money that's in arrears when you can't work? You can't work, you can't drive. You can't drive, you can't pay. You can't pay, you can't work. You see, this is a cycle of madness that this matriarchy that we live in have, and all the women care. They don't care. All the women care about is where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my check? My best friend, he stays right around the block from me. I watched him, for multiple reasons. Not just for, I don't want to blame it on the baby mama, but he had a kid. She did not allow him to be a part of the kid's life. It ate him up inside. You know, his dad died. He found his dad dead on the couch due to an overdose. He got into drugs. Mom got into drugs. You know, the family kind of fell apart. But not only that, when he had a chance to start a family and be a father figure, the mom wouldn't let him. And they had a kid out of wedlock themselves. And the one person he could have maybe grew up to be a role model from, the mother just wanted the money. She was happy to slut out and, party with him. She was happy to sleep around. She was happy to take the cash. She was happy to, be ran through. She was, happy to be for all the bad. But when it came time to, hey, can I just be there for Christmas? She would, would swing him by for 15 minutes, take the Christmas present and run. And it wasn't even about the quality time for her. She wanted the Christmas present. You know what I'm saying? And I knew this girl from high school. And I remember when they first met, I told him, don't do it. Don't sneak out this house, and don't do that. But whatever. I can only be a bro so much, so hard. So either way, he and I, our lives were different. And I stayed single. I never married, never had kids. He had a kid, and it just was dangled like a weapon, and it tortured him. So he got, popped, suspended, driver's license, went to jail. If he was holding possession charge, now added on, and then it just all of a sudden now he's a felon, lost his voting rights, and it's like how he could never find a good job, and his life was over. And I was like, dude, that could be me. That could be any of us. That could be you. You don't realize that we're all just one angry woman's bad day away from having everything that you've ever known and loved taken from us. No man should have to live under that kind of fear. You want to talk about oppression. Women talk about, we've been oppressed for hundreds of years or whatever. Not a single day in your life have you ever been oppressed. You've been protected your entire life. All throughout human history, men have been saving you. When the other enemies come to rape you, we protect you. The worst you've ever had it is that we would trade one of our daughters for one of their daughters in order so that all the other daughters wouldn't get attacked. So there would be peace between two tribes or two kingdoms or two nations. It may be that one daughter had to suck it up for all the others so that all the men didn't have to go to war. Okay, I get it. But once she went over there, most of the time she was treated pretty well because the other guy, the chief or the king, was like, hey, don't screw with my daughter. That was the whole purpose. They usually shook hands and became clans. So you usually were what bringing peace was. So women now, though, they normally just, do whatever they care about for themselves. Do you think Helen of Troy cared that there was an entire war fought over her? Or do you think that she was just like, I'm getting a better man that loves me. I'm not going to do my duty. Think about that one for a second. She didn't care if she destroyed an entire nation or not. Now I know I'm sitting there trying to read people's minds thousands of years ago. But think historically speaking. Think about all the women you know. Generally, I'm not saying everyone, generally, 8 out of 10. Because we're taking the outliers. Yes, I went to college. Yes, I got an A in statistics. I know a Poisson distribution chart when I see it. So you take the 80% and you leave the 10% out on either side. And I'd say 80% of them would sit there and throw almost anything under the bus if it meant getting what they want selfishly. Not doing their duty for the nation. And remember, every household is a little nation. When I am with a woman, the way I see it, that's why I always say, king of the castle. This is my nation. This is my queen. I am the king. My children, they are the serfs or the fiefs. This is my fiefdom, And so, that being said, you have to think about it from that perspective of, are you going to sacrifice and do what's right to keep this house, this kingdom, this fiefdom, whatever it may be, alive, even if it brings displeasure and discomfort to you? And there was a time, at least for a while, where most people realized, and we always use the example of survival, that we needed each other to survive. That's the only reason why we did it. No, it wasn't the only reason why. Because there wasn't so many options. Nowadays, with social media, there are a million options out there. And as soon as the modern woman got told it's okay to go out and make a little bit of money, and now you can choose. It used to be that men did the choosing. We would walk up and say, "Do you want to dance? Do you want to dance? May I have the pleasure of this dance?" But as soon as women got told that they could choose, two things happened. A, women are like, "Where did the courtship go?" Well, number one, you now choose. You are in control of the marketplace. You walk up to men. You have all that power. We're on dating apps, and you are doing the swiping of the writing. So you are only picking the top 5%, 10% of men, 20% at best. Okay? So now we are not walking up to you, and now you have a unlimited amount of choices. And as a result of that, you are finding out just what your value is that most men will sleep with you, but most men aren't going to stay with you because you're aiming too high, you're Icarus, and your wings are getting clipped. Because when you are a feminist and you go to work and you get a job, you're putting twice as many people out there into the economy, which increases competition in the macroeconomic sense, which now means I have to compete with you in the workplace. So now one income isn't enough for a household because they can suppress the wages. Because it's not just, think about it, if there's 100 million people looking for a job instead of 50, twice that many people looking for jobs mean they can pay half the wages. That's one reason why we have families today which need 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs to get by. Feminism, suppressed wages. If only men worked, there would be labor shortages, and then men could make twice as much, and then they could support the females, and the females could then work for the men. That's one thing. Number two is that when you get in your masculine energy and you become a male, you become my competition. You become my adversary. And it is instinctive for any man, even amongst best friends, to compete with each other. You see it in brothers. Brothers fight all the time and compete. They may love each other. They may do it on a friendly basis. Best friends may compete with each other on a friendly basis. But look, pull out in a more general way and look at each other, and you will see that men as a whole compete with each other. So why is it that women want to compete with a man when now you're my adversary? How are we supposed to work together when you are my adversary? You're going after the same job as me, you're taking money out of my mouth, and you're acting like a man. That instinctively flips a switch into a man's brain where he says, I need to come for you, I need to get you, I need to make you submit. So what he will do is he'll sleep with you, because that means he gets to dominate you. See, we see sex as a domination thing. So we'll bang you. We'll clap them cheeks all day long. And that means got him. Okay, I got the competition. I bent the competition over and I won. And now I'm going to smash and pass and I'm going to check out. And then you want to, women are like, what? But I got him to sleep with me. I'm pulling all these kinds of guys. They're all over me. I'm getting all kind of attention. Yeah, you're getting competitive attention. And then you're bending over and you're laying down. You're spreading your legs and you're losing. As soon as you do that, you lose. You lose all your leverage. Because now you've slept with the competition. Think about that. You got two co-workers on equal fields and they start sleeping with each other. Who has the advantage? The man. Because as soon as that relationship gets out in public, in the workplace, the man can say, yeah, I hit it, I smashed it. And the girl is always like, oh my God, now everybody knows I'm sleeping with him, da-da-da. We win that every time. Which is why they had to start making the sexual harassment workplace laws, so that's a weapon now. She can go, no. I'm gonna change my mind 3 years later and say it wasn't consensual. It's rape like 5 years later. What? It wasn't rape at the time. What are you talking about now? Now it was rape. He was cool with it at the time. So then they go back and try to rewrite history. They was totally fine with you at the moment, even instigated it, come up to you and said, hey baby, I want you, come sleep with me, whatever. And women are very aggressive and will do that. And then 5 years later they try to turn it on you. Because they realize when things are equal and there's equity in the marketplace, socioeconomically, men have an advantage every time. So they have to take that away. Try to level the playing field somehow. But what they don't realize is when they do that, they bite themselves in the foot. Because we see them then as competition, and then the only thing we can do is that we can't wife them, we can't keep them, they have nothing to offer. So we hang them and bang them. We smash them, we pass them. And then they're sitting there at, 30 plus, 40 plus, going, oh, why am I alone? Why are all men trash? Because you bring that out in us. We have no other weapons at our disposal because you've decided to up the game of warfare to nuclear warfare. So we have to nuke and go. We have no other weapons. If you would stay in your feminine energy, stay out of the workplace, if you want to get an education, I'm not going to say don't go to college. That's, I don't agree with that. But what I am saying is that know your role, do your gender role, and if you do that and you work for your man instead of making another man rich in the workplace, and you try to boost him and you help him out, the more successful he is, you let him play to his natural role and let him take care of you, and you slide in under that. And if you want to, work part-time and contribute to the house or whatever, that's fine. But don't try to dominate the house. Don't become an adversary. Become a supplement, a team member, a squad member, if you will. Then that's fine. Stay in your feminine energy. Let him be in his masculine energy. Let there be a yin and a yang. And in all ways, there can be all places. I would say a better way of maybe describing this is just look at Earth in general. If you were an alien species and you came down and looked at Earth, you're looking at the black widow spider. Black widow spiders kill their mates every time. Imagine if black widow's men, males, just said, we're tired of being killed. We're tired of being killed, right? What if the queen bees, when bees fly around, they basically have a gangbang on the female bee, and then all the bees dies. The male bees die after they impregnate the queen. What if those bees are just like, no, I ain't going to give my life up for that? There would be no reproduction in bees. They would be extinct overnight. Black widow spiders extinct overnight. Now let's rinse and repeat. What if peacocks, male peacocks, are like, I'm tired of being objectified. I'm not making, these colors anymore. Women, peacocks wouldn't find them attractive. And they would be like, but you're not doing what we want. Mating would go down, peacocks would die out. Fireflies, what if they didn't, flicker at just the right rate? What if they say, I'm not even going to turn my light on. That's stupid. I have to sit there and generate this amazing I don't even know how it works, chemical balance to create light just to have sex. Nah, man, accept me for who I am. I'm going to be a dark fly, right? So every, penguins, they do crazy crap. Every species on planet Earth is doing what works for them, and they're succeeding. And when they don't, then natural selection takes over, and they either evolve or become extinct. The only species on planet Earth that does not know their role is the human female. Let that sink in. The human female is the only one. Now, I'm not saying all of them, obviously. I don't ever take anything I say as a generalized statement. But the human female is the only one that is trying to say, I do not and I refuse to do my job on planet Earth. So, and here's the irony, is a lot of them are out there going, I love the earth. I want to feel connected, and I'm so spiritual, and I want to give back, and Mother Gaia Earth, or I'm a Wiccan, I'm a witch, or this is always the women that are into crystals and whatever. They seem to be so in touch with nature, and they go on these hiking trails, and they always have profiles of them on some mountaintop somewhere, their heart over the sun, and they love astrology, and they're in touch with the universe and their mind, and they meditate and they do yoga, right? How can you be that much supposedly in touch with everything around you, the metaverse, and you're the only creature that's not acting in accordance with your job title? You're supposedly so wise and in touch, and women mature faster than men, but you don't know your role. I think that's the ultimate irony. So that's just my thoughts as I'm wading into this manosphere, if you will. Uh, you'll be hearing more of my thoughts down the road, but we'll just see as they come into my head. I'll get on and pop more, but just think about that and ask yourself why and how. What is the motivation for making the human female the only creature on planet Earth not in line with their gender role? And then think who would benefit, why, how. I don't want to get into conspiracies yet, but there has to be a motivation for that, right? So think about who would benefit and all that. And we'll talk next time. See ya.